Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
were the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming,
and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order, arms.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Reverend Dr. Christy Coburn, and I'm the chaplain for the Abington American Legion Louis V. Dorsey Post 112. On behalf of our town veterans agent, Adam Gunn, and the commanders of Abington's veterans organizations, Ken Coburn from the American Legion, Brian Martin from the Veterans of Foreign War, and John Beadle from the United States Veterans Vietnam Era Richard Fitz Chapter, I extend a warm welcome to all of you who are here today in person and those watching at home. We thank you for taking time this Memorial Day to remember and honor our war dead. I have a few people to publicly thank for helping to make today happen. Thank you to the people who worked so hard to clean up our veterans lot here in Mount Vernon Cemetery. John Beadle, Dave Peterson, Bill Hawkins, Jack Davis, George McNeil, Bob Pratt, Bob Delaney, Jimmy, Mrs. Taylor, Vicki Fitz, Rich Fitz, and Barb and Mike Franey. Thank you also to the Boy Scouts under the leadership of Chris Schultz, who placed flags at the graves of all veterans here in the cemetery. Thank you to Abington Cam and Kevin Tocci, who helped us last year and again this year to make sure that this ceremony is broadcast on our local cable access. Thank you to the color guards from our 3 veterans posts here in town. Thank you to Wally Cunningham, who will be playing taps for us. And thank you to the committee of people who met to plan this day under the leadership of Ken Coburn, Dave Peterson, John Beadle, Billy Jones, and Adam Gunn. Before we join together in an opening prayer, I'd like for us to share a moment of silence in memory of our friend Brian Carroll. Brian emceed our Memorial Day ceremonies for many years until last year's pandemic. Sadly, Brian died on February 9th, 2021, with his family by his side and many friends holding him close in their hearts. Let us take a moment to be silent in memory, in honor, and in gratitude for our friend Brian Carroll. And will you join with me in prayer? God of peace and love, today we remember and give thanks for our friends and family from Abington who gave their lives in the service of our country. When the need was greatest, they stepped forward to defend our freedom. O God, you yourself have taught us that no love is greater than that which gives itself for another. These honored dead gave the most precious gift they had, life itself. Help us to honor their memory by caring for the family members they've left behind, by ensuring that their wounded comrades are properly cared for, and by being watchful caretakers of the freedoms for which they gave their lives. Never let us forget those who paid so terrible a price to ensure that freedom would be our legacy. In the name of peace, let us join together and say, Amen. Memorial Day is a day set aside to remember and honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving in the United States military. It's a day to call to our minds and hearts the brave men and women who so valiantly served this country, fighting for freedom and democracy until the fight itself ended their lives. It's a day to be grateful for those willing to fight to death for liberty and justice for all. But one day is hardly sufficient. One day is but nothing for the family and friends of those who died bravely in the defense of your freedom and my freedom. Because today is not just about staring at names on a wall. Today is about real people who died difficult deaths on our behalf. And one day of remembrance is hardly sufficient. I'm sure that Doris and Eliza Bascom were so proud of their son Edgar, a true hero of the Great War. But even more sure am I that they missed him terribly after he was killed, as did his siblings, Thomas, Henry, and Ada, and his classmates and friends from MIT. One day is hardly sufficient. I know that Lloyd Clapp was an American patriot before and after he was killed in Okinawa, and I'm sure his family was proud. But more so, I'm sure his mother Lena and his wife Louise missed him terribly. And I'm sure that his two brothers, Joseph and Edward, who were also serving in the military and stationed far from home, felt grief-stricken and bereft when they received the news of their brother's death. And I'm also sure that Lloyd's two young children grew up wondering about their dad and missing what they never had. One day is hardly sufficient. I'm sure that Barbara and Ralph Hamlin had faith that their son, Ralph Jr., fought honorably in Vietnam right to his death. And I'm sure they were proud of him. But I know for a fact, having met Barbara, that their son's death changed her life, as it did for his little sister Jan. Jan and I have had heart-to-heart conversations about her brother Ralph, affectionately known as Buster, and more than 55 years later, she still remembers her beloved big brother with tears in her eyes. One day is hardly sufficient. I know from speaking with them that Karen Vasilian and Erin Vasilian are so proud of their son and husband, Danny. But I also know that there is pain in their hearts because they miss Danny's larger-than-life personality, his sense of humor, and his boundless energy, as do his very large circle of family and friends. One day is hardly sufficient. One day is hardly sufficient to say thank you to Edgar, Lloyd, Buster, and Danny, and the many more thousands as generous as these who gave their lives so that you and I can worship freely, think and speak freely, choose freely, vote freely, and love freely. One day is hardly sufficient. So let today simply be your yearly reminder that one day is hardly sufficient, and that every single day of your life should be a day of gratitude and thanksgiving for the sacrifices of our war dead and the ongoing sacrifices of their families and friends. Let today be the day we promise to live our lives every day from a place of gratitude, dignity, honor, respect, kindness, generosity, and love, that we might never forget the sacrifices made for us to live in freedom, because one day is hardly sufficient. Amen. We've come to the very special part of our ceremony today called the Roll Call of the War Dead. Each of the names on Abington's honor roll will now be read out loud. In some cases where information and history were available, you will also hear a brief description of how the hero died. It is hardly sufficient, but I hope it gives you some insight and appreciation for what's been sacrificed for us. It is military tradition that when the name of someone killed in action is read, 8 bells are tolled. In the interest of time, we will toll 2 bells after each name and 8 bells at the conclusion of the entire list. And I invite Abington's Veterans Agent, Adam Gunn, to join me today in reading the list. And I thank Commander Ken Coburn from the American Legion in Abington for tolling the bell. World War I, 2nd Lieutenant Edgar D. Bascom. Killed in action at Beaulieu-Bois, awarded the Silver Star. Chester Lawrence Belcher. Died of disease. Sergeant First Class Walter W. Coleman. Died of disease. Sergeant Fred Henry Cook. Died of a gunshot wound inflicted by an insane soldier. Lloyd Crossman. Louis Vincent Dorsey. Killed in action in the En Marne offensive, received divisional citation and recommended for Military Cross.
Corporal Robert English. Killed in action in use Argonne defense. George H. Gillespie. Henry Chester Hurst. Died of disease in the Panama Canal Zone. John Joseph Mahoney. Killed in the Charlevoix Ravine during the Battle of the Argonne Forest. United States Navy Fireman 3rd Class Joseph Dennis Martin Jr. Died of disease. Charles Edward Murphy. Died from wounds received in action during the Wazan offense in France.
Charles S. Mayotte. Killed in action near Vaux, France. Myron Franklin Stewart, United States Marine Corps. Died of disease. Sergeant Harold Leonard Taylor. Died of disease in France. Shirley Sampson Thayer. Died of disease. George Louis Wharf. Died of disease at Souilly, France. World War II.
Charles Handel Bellows Jr. Killed in action. Wendell Everett Chamberlain. Killed in action in Germany. Awarded the Bronze Star. Private First Class Lloyd Robert Clapp. Killed in action in Okinawa, Japan. John Colburn, United States Navy. George Wilford Coleman. Killed in a plane crash at Hawaii in the Pacific. Edmund G. Crossley. Killed in action.
Elton Ernest Ekstrom. Killed in action in Germany. George S. Forsyth. United States Marine Corps Captain Roy Erland Hulme. Served in 7 major combats and was killed in action at Iwo Jima. Wellington Jameson. Killed in action in France. United States Navy Seaman Second Class John Paul Keeley. Missing in action and later declared lost at Okinawa when the USS Pringle DD-477 was shot down by enemy fire. Remains deemed unrecoverable. Clifford Ronald Kimber, United States Coast Guard. Killed in action during the invasion of the Solomon Islands in the South Pacific. Remains deemed unrecoverable.
Richard Leo McHugh, United States Marine Corps, killed in action in the invasion of the Guam in the South Pacific.
McGeck.
Harold Robert McGeck, killed in action. Colonel John F. Mahanan, chaplain, United States Army. Harold Robert Olson, killed in a bomber crash. John Rice, United States Marine Corps, killed in action. Frank Otis Warren Jr., killed in the fall of a naval bomber.
Vietnam. Specialist 5th Class Dennis K. Adley, United States Army. Air Force Major Peter Bugby Christensen, killed in action in Laos. Staff Sergeant Richard Allen Fitz, Special Forces, killed in action in Laos, listed as missing in action, body not recovered until 1989.
Specialist 4th Class Richard Francis Glenowitz, killed in action in Vietnam. Army Private 1st Class Glenn Raymond Gordon, killed in action in Vietnam. Marine Corps Private 1st Class Ralph Gerald Hamlin Jr., killed in action in Vietnam.
Army Specialist 4th Class Ernest Hammond Laidler, killed in Long Khan while serving as door gunner on a military aircraft which collided with another aircraft in midair and then crashed and burned. Afghanistan. Marine Corps Sergeant Daniel M. Vasilian, killed in action while conducting combat operations in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. He was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star Medal with Combat Distinguishing Service.
Honor guard, hut tent, hut. Honor guard, prepare to render salute. Honor guard, prepare to fire. And salute. Order. Arms.
And now, may you, today and every day, carry with you the love of our war dead, the deep and abiding love that gave everything for you and for me. In the name of peace, let us join together and say, Amen.
Follow.
Good morning. I am honored to be with you today as we remember the meaning of Memorial Day, this different and hallowed holiday. Young men and young women, since the beginning of our time, have been called to duty. Moms and dads, brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, sons and daughters have watched their loved ones leave the safety of their homes to serve for something greater than self. Their selfless devotion, outstanding courage, and honor should inspire all of us to make their sacrifices meaningful. It is our duty as a grateful nation and grateful people to honor and remember those that have served, sacrificed, and died to preserve and protect our liberties and the liberties of others throughout the world. These heroes leave behind families and friends who continue to grieve and feel the loss of their loved ones each and every day. Every Memorial Day, I reflect on what Major Michael Davis O'Donnell once said. If you are able, save them a place inside of you, and save one backward glance when you are leaving for the places they can no longer go. To all the Gold Star families, I promise I will always save one backward glance for the places they can no longer go, and I will forever hold them in my heart. Please take a moment to pause and remember what Memorial Day is all about. Honoring our fallen, their families, and the loved ones they leave behind. By remembering a few, or even one of these patriots, we honor all of those who have served and given the ultimate sacrifice. We thank you, and we are eternally grateful. God bless these heroes. God bless and comfort their families. God bless and protect our troops, and God bless America. Thank you.
Hi, I'm State Senator John Keenan, and I want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. It's a day when we take pause to thank, to remember, and to honor those that paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our nation, our democracy, of all that's good about this great country of America. And I want to thank the men and women who are currently serving both here and abroad. We hope that you are home safely soon with your families. So to everybody, please, have a safe, healthy, and happy Memorial Day. Be well. Thank you.